get started. Okay. Hello and good evening and welcome to Nanaimo Design Advisory Panel, November 13th, 2025. To begin, can I please get a motion to approve today's agenda as presented? Okay, let me see. I see Harry, that's seconder. Dushan and Angie, thank you. All in favor? Okay, wonderful, thank you. For just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin, we need to approve some minutes. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes as presented for October 9th, 2025 at 5:01 p.m.? Harry, seconder, Angie, thank you, and all in favor? Okay, wonderful. Second sets of minutes is for Thursday, October 23rd at 5. Can I get a motion for that? Thank you, Angie, seconder, Harry, all in favor? Okay, thanks very much, everybody. So we have one presentation this evening. This one is for a 28-unit multifamily development on 5420 Alta Vista Drive. Lania, our manager of current planning, will be introducing that today. And after which will be followed by the presentation, and then the panel will have the opportunity to ask questions, and then of the city as well as as well as the presenters, and then we will provide comments. The panel will provide comments and recommendations. So, Lania, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And before I begin, if I can ask just to make sure that everybody who is on screen, it looks like actually we all have our names, full names displayed just for the purpose of record keeping for the minutes. Thank you. Development permit application number DP 1401 is for a multifamily residential development with 28 units at 5420 Alta Vista Drive. And this is under the existing steep slope residential R10 zone. The R10 zone permits a density of up to 16 units per hectare and a floor area ratio of 0.45. However, this property is permitted an additional 9 units as a result of a density transfer from a previous development permit, I think issued in July of this year. And this allows up to 28 units in total on the property. And this property is also undergoing a concurrent subdivision application. So this essentially is the first phase of future development within the broader parent parcel. The property is designated within development permit areas number 5, wildfire hazard, number 6, steep slope development, and number 8, form and character. And so the steep slope guidelines and form and character design guidelines apply. The application includes a variance to increase the maximum permitted principal building height from 9 meters to 10 meters, and this is for all buildings to allow flexibility to respond to site grades. And I'm happy to take any questions following the applicant's presentation if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Lania. And who will be presenting this evening?
Myself and Zoe Wood from DHK Architects.
Okay, please go ahead and share your screen. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It looks like Zoom has decided to update itself on me, and I have my screen isn't sharing.
Then do you want me to share it while you're walking through?
Yes.
Sorry, Zoom is just doing something to me right now too, so just 2 seconds.
That's okay,
drives
take
me
your
crazy.
time. That's all right.
Drives me crazy.
That's okay, you're the only presentation for tonight. It's your show.
I know it's just, I always feel foolish when you show up and you're like, okay, let's go. And wait a second. No, actually, let's not go.
Okay, can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, we can.
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Glenn, just let me know when to tab down.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you everyone for your time this evening. Our client developer can't be with us this evening. He's on a volleyball tournament with his daughter in Hawaii, so I'm sure they're having great fun. But I do have the pleasure of having Cara and Jordan, our landscape architect and civil consultant, with us, and we have compiled our PDF presentation. So we'll go through our work pretty quickly, and then we'll hand it over to Cara to speak a little bit more in depth into the landscape design, and and then we can follow up with some of the civil work that is dovetailed into stormwater management and other grading issues that we've been navigating on this site. So. If we can jump to the next slide, Zoe. So this is the subject property. As Lania had mentioned, it's the first phase of a larger phase development in the 542 Alta Vista Drive property. The subject property, as mentioned, is designed to have 28 unit single family residential but multifamily in nature, fourplex development. Just to the south of this subject property, at the end of Lindley Valley Drive, the developer just completed a similar project with a similar kind of unit plans, and what we have found is these particular unit types fall into an interesting category of home, in that they are rooted within a larger single family development consisting of larger single family homes with associated basement suites that are either rented or larger families are living there. So what our product is a sort of a family orientated size, in that they're around the 2,400 square feet, so larger unit types, and we so far the product has been received really well, and the first wave of these unit types sold quickly, and people are enjoying that space. So this is kind of a sister project to that, hoping that we would gain the same kind of traction and as we move forward. So the slide here illustrates some of the current street context. We have on the bottom left, you can see the consistency of the larger single family neighborhood homes within what is becoming a well-established neighborhood. It's close proximity to Randerson Ridge Elementary School. There are several amenities associated with this, and even with the development that Lania had mentioned, the larger development permit, a large area of parkland has been secured through both rezoning and other development permits for this project. So we've consolidated down into the building sites now. The frontage that we're looking at is essentially, you can see the rock outcropping starting immediately at the sidewalks. Our image B sort of shows where the entry would be coming in. So in between those two trees would be the start of our driveway that is navigating itself around the steeper rock slope, as you can see in image A. We've tried to avoid that bluff and bringing the buildings in and the roads into the left of that. So if we go to the next slide, this composition is a combination of Google Earth in 3 dimensions with our development dropped and geolocated into it in Google Earth. So you can see some of the striations in and around our building are our design model contours, but you can see how it reflects the existing slope and how we have nestled the houses along the west side, well, sort of page left of the site in order to bring the road along to the right-hand side of the houses and to avoid the rock bluff as much as we can. There's obviously rock cutting required. The units all step up as we follow the grade up the hill, similar to the surrounding neighborhood. Next slide. Just a point of note as we go to the end of the property, again in an attempt to avoid some of the significant grading which you can see up in the top right hand corner. We've created some site section cuts and worked with our geotechnical engineer to establish appropriate fall safety zones for any rock dropping and catchment that is safely back from the houses and the dwellings that we're putting there. So those three sections relate to the sort of site sections that show the grading. Next slide. As far as siting goes, then we've this is a zoom in of our property. The driveway comes in off of Cascara, or at the end of Cascara and Alta Vista. We have the first group of homes are turned 90 degrees from the rest of the units in order to present out onto the street with the living spaces facing out onto patios that are surrounded by landscape between the sidewalk, the public sidewalk, and the private patios. Those are serviced by that little spur driveway off to the left-hand side that gets you into the garage spaces, and then the rest of the units are arrayed in a series of pads that are kind of stepping up as we follow the grade. Each building has a ground orientated unit with a garage. The upper levels have walk up access to their, and then parking in close proximity to the staircases that take you up to the first floor into those units. Further along on the southern side of the road, we have taken opportunities where the grade works with us to provide additional parking for visitors, and any additional parking over and above what's required has been we've selected a permeable material for that. Further along the road, there is the garbage enclosure with some opportunity to landscape screen that with some additional parking. And at the end of the road, this would be potentially a continuation of the private driveway accessing the next phase. So that road terminates at the property line, which is also where the trail network pathway that we've designed into the project is located across the across that eastern boundary. Zoe, if you want to just sort of drag your so that pathway kind of makes its way up onto the bluff and connects beyond. So that's an opportunity to kind of continue pedestrian and walkers to navigate through the site and potentially join future phases as we develop them. The on the north side, you can see the bottom of the rock bluff. There is a significant fall catchment area as designed by our geotech engineer. So again, the site was influencing where we were placing our buildings, and the orientation of our buildings was pushed to the north end of the site so that we could, as best we can, take advantage of south and westerly exposure to bring natural daylight to the frontages of these houses, with decks being on the north side. So that gave us the sort of the rationale for our site placement of each of the buildings. We can go to the next slide. This is just a quick snapshot of the unit type. So unit type A is ground orientated with a garage, and we've got the sort of bedrooms and whatnot. And then unit B is sort of a variation on the same theme. Next slide. So we'll get into sort of our elevation. So speaking a little bit about the form and character, We've created a couple of different styles with similar but varying materials in order to create a kind of a consistent theme, but a subtle change in each of the buildings, and then some subtle placement of materials in each of the sides of the building so that each unit has a bit of a unique material placement throughout the project while still maintaining a consistent theme. So you can see in building one here showing that we've got an array of different materials. I think, and the little vignette at the top right-hand side sort of illustrates how those materials display themselves coming up to the front door on the upper levels. If you go to the next elevation, our theme generally sort of changes subtly to kind of accommodate a different kind of material palette and further kind of differentiate from the other building type. The next one. Then we get into a darker one that adds a darker siding and a kind of corrugated metal, along with the softer materials of the wood soffit siding and the other board and batten siding. And then on through building four. So again, similar kind of technique in deploying materials in a way that sort of creates a little bit of individuality and differentiation between each of the units as best as we could. As we go through these elevations, you'll see that the variance that we have asked for is relative to some of them. But what we find in steep slope developments is working with the natural topography. Often there are moments where during construction we need to pivot a little bit to either work with an awkward rock situation, and so we didn't want to, when we get within that 12 inches of height limit, we don't want to be in a position where we're asking for variances during construction due to site conditions. So we've kind of respectfully requested a relaxation on the height for this project in order to appropriately get these houses set onto at the appropriate grade. So carrying on, I think this is again, it just shows some of the variations. Building 7. So we've set up three, Zoe, particular types, material types, and then we've arrayed those in various different clumps throughout the entire throughout the site. Yeah.
So there's the three schemes, and then there's some pieces that stay consistent through all of them, but they vary within the three color schemes.
Right. So this kind of gives, well, I mean, Zoe, maybe you want to just speak to the
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Yeah, so the three styles that are noted are the three different schemes for the buildings. Style 1 has the corrugated metal with that darker lap siding, just to have a bit more of a modern and industrial look that will break up the other two styles. Styles 2 and 3 have a more like naturally occurring palette, so the blue and then the green ashwood moss to suit the area. And then the materials listed in the bottom are the ones that stay consistent through all of the buildings, no matter what style they're going for.
Perfect. And if we carry on. So we have a garbage closure. We did make note that staff recommendation or staff suggestion was an alternative material. The split face block is not the most attractive material in the world, but we are planning on landscape screening around it, and we have attempted to provide the wood look door front and the pergola over the top of it in a hope that we can sort of soften that down a little bit. It does provide a very robust kind of enclosure that these things do take a little bit of abuse, and we found some of the other ones that we've implemented have ended up being pretty damaged quickly on. So we're hoping that we'll certainly take it into consideration, the staff comment, but at the moment this is kind of where we're at with the garbage enclosure for the whole site, which is centrally located as much as we could. So then we'll just do a quick walk up through the site. This is our design model, so forgive some of the choppy grade, but this was used for us to understand the grade required for the road, and then the grade required to meet the appropriate driveway access up and or down to the garages, and also for the parking adjacent to the buildings. So building 2, we're walking up through the hill, garbage closure on the right hand side with other parking. You'll see on the right that the grade is cut quite severely right behind this, and then we rejoin natural grade as quickly as we can as we go up the hill. This is looking back down from the east side, looking back down the hill with the buildings sort of step to follow the grade. The form and character of our architecture, the peaked roofs tend to sawtooth up and down and create a kind of a similar or metaphorical undulated sort of look and feel as the natural topography, with large deck on the second floor. We have large overhangs covering the decks on the second floor with the wooden accent, which we hope creates a usable and pleasurable outside amenity area for the occupants on the second floor that don't necessarily have ready access out onto the patios or the site grade. This is just a quick shot from that rock cliff that separates us from the neighbors to the north, and the landscaping and the buildings pushed back to stay well clear of the steep rock cut, as you can see. Next one is just another shot as we go down the hill, following the grade, and there are areas along the back where we are going to have to create a stone wall retaining, which is fairly consistent in and around this entire neighborhood and various developments. So it's just a nature of the site. And carrying on. Yeah, so this is the spur road. So these are the 2 units that are orientated out towards the street at the back. This would be their primary entryways and parking areas at the back, with the living spaces looking out over Alta Vista Drive. So we've created a couple of vignettes that try to illustrate how we're dropping these 2-story units into the topography. You'll see in a second the cut that we've created has provided access to the road. So yeah, Zoe's just illustrating where the natural grade is, and where if we go back to then what we're cutting in to provide the road, which is aligned with Cascara, and the units on the left are the ones that are orientated out towards Alta Vista Drive. So again, that just sort of illustrates how we're dropping them in. This vignette illustrates how the scale of what the buildings is fairly appropriate given the surrounding neighborhood, and as you can see on the left, where the larger single-family homes are stepping up the hill, we're basically following that to the best of our capacity and snaking around the existing rock knoll on the right-hand side. It's just another view of how we've placed our buildings within context. And I think, yeah, we'll hand it over to Cara to chat a little bit more in depth about strategies around our landscape plan. Thank you.
Hi. Thanks, Glenn. My name is Cara MacDonald, landscape architect. I apologize, we didn't quite have enough turnaround time to get color put on the plan, but I think the DHK drawings illustrated the site very well. So in terms of landscape, approximately a quarter of the site's natural forested slopes and rock crops are being preserved. We provide a public access, a 2-meter trail and wooden stair at the east end of the site that Glenn alluded to, provides access through these row crops to a trail connection to the north, which is Park. These trail designs will be per the City of Nanaimo Trail Plan design guidelines. On the north side of the property, terraced rock walls create rear yard spaces for the residents. Atop this wall will be a transparent metal guard, so the landscape that is terracing down the rock walls will sort of at least be visually part of the rear yards. The rear yards to the east have a rock outcrop backdrop. The planting scheme itself finds a balance between meeting the wildfire hazard assessment recommendations, the steep slope, and the zoning bylaw guidelines in place at the time the plan was prepared. So the plan integrates the project into the natural rock outcrops using indigenous evergreen and fruiting plants already found on site to provide food and cover for wildlife. Approximately 70% of the plant palette is indigenous species. Ornamental fire-resistant plant species are used in garden areas directly adjacent to the residential units almost completely. Trees are not planted in formal groups as requested in the design guidelines, but this is in an effort to meet the wildfire hazard assessment by keeping trees spaced so they're not grouped together. Trees are planted along the north interface to screen the adjacent single-family residential rear yards, and the steep rock face to the south provides screening for the other dwellings that are way up on top of a rock outcrop. At the base of this wall, the rockfall catchment ditch will act as required planting buffer along the south of the site. You actually saw the lighting. It looks exactly like the type that we're recommending that in the garbage enclosure illustration, which is a low pedestrian 8-foot high lighting that's provided throughout the site to eliminate parking areas and accesses to dwelling units. And again, as Glenn mentioned, we're using permeable paving over the parking stalls along the south of the property. And that's about it for landscape. Thank you. Oh, I could go through the plans a little bit more. So those sections, the three sections there are three typical sections through the north property line where the rock walls are located. These were coordinated with the geotechnical engineer. The photograph in the bottom left is the type of fence which was used on the previous project that Glenn was speaking of. And then sheet L3 just shows the City of Nanaimo standards for the trail design that we'll be proposing for the trail connection. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Cara. Jordan, do you have anything you want to add as far as grading stormwater?
Yeah, I can speak to the stormwater management
Thank you.
here. Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Klippenstein with Cascara Consulting. So the intent of this site here to meet the city's stormwater management requirements, given the site is primarily rock with low or minimal infiltration, the intent is to use underground stormwater retention detention chambers located at the northwest corner of the site, as well as through absorbent landscaping and having the rockfall catchment ditches doubling as a conveyance for the stormwater. Any runoff from the slope to the south will be directed to the rockfall catchment ditch, and then catch basins into the storm system, and then along the northern property line as well.
Great, Jordan, thank you. Oh, have you got some more?
This is the general grading plan here. You can see the road center line is generally following along the natural site grade up to a maximum of 6% to help facilitate the parking along the drive aisle as well as the driveways at the buildings. And you can see a typical section, sorry, just one sheet back there. Typical section, this is kind of worst case scenario with the rock cut slope as provided by the geotechnical engineer. And this sheet here is just noting the proposed fire truck turnaround located between buildings 4 and 5, I believe it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this we just added this in to illustrate some of the geotechnical work that is going to be required at the at that northeasterly corner and down along our north property line. You can see the section cuts kind of wrapping down there where the stone walls. And as I had mentioned earlier, this is somewhat consistent with the rest of the neighborhood in some of the lower lying areas and adjacencies to public walkways that are pedestrianizing the whole neighborhood. So yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. And if there's any questions, we'll do our best to answer them.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn, for the very thoughtful presentation, and Zoe for backup, and Kara and Jordan as well. That's great. First, I'd like to ask the panel if they have any questions for the city regarding this project. And please, if you could stop sharing so I can see everybody. Thank you. Thanks. Any questions? Okay. In that case, we'll move forward with our questions from the panel and along with recommendations and comments. So without further ado, if Angie could begin, please.
All right, thanks, Madam Chair. Great presentation. Thanks for going through all the details with us. It was helpful to just kind of see it all put together there. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot here. I just thought, yeah, I think there's a staff comment about more contrasting colors on the buildings, and I did kind of think, yeah, if there was maybe some more opportunity to use a bit bolder colors. I don't know if you're familiar with Hawthorne Corner at 2nd and Wagasaya, but there's some nice yellows and reds that I think maybe something like that might be able to pull in here, and they kind of have the corrugated metal, and there's some similarities in terms of kind of the look and feel. So I just kind of wondered if there might be an opportunity there to kind of bring some other colors into the mix as well. But yeah, I think it's yeah, I think this building type is great for the area. There's also, I know, if in terms of like some weather protection for the upper level unit doors, there's on those buildings as well at Hawthorne Corner, they've got some like small projections that kind of come out underneath the peaks to kind of cover the patio doors there as well. So there might be an element there that can be, you know, something similar might be able to be implemented here to provide some weather protection. But yeah, overall, I think it's a great project. I was curious, the retaining wall across the road from the units, if there's any like trees or landscaping kind of planned to kind of break that up a little bit. It looks like it's stepped, so it won't be kind of one big rock wall, but I just kind of wondered if there's, yeah, what it might look like, I guess.
The retaining wall behind the between the neighbors' houses.
I guess it's to the south. You're like on the just on the
Oh.
south side of the road, on the drive aisle.
Right. I mean, that's basically that's kind of like the rock cut edge. So we do have that sort of drop zone area, which is anticipated if there is anything that fractures through a freeze thaw or any other that it would be. But essentially the south of the road. So if you're looking out of the houses across the road, the hope is that that rock cut would sort of over time just start to renaturalize. It is extremely steep. We'll be kind of cutting in at a fairly aggressive angle. I don't know, Kara, is there anything else that you might?
Yep, we treated, so Jordan alluded to it as well. So we have that rock cut, the rock fall cut is also stormwater conveyance. So we treated it kind of like a rain garden. So it's got the sedges and stuff in the bottom, and then indigenous sort of larger shrubs on the edges, and it does have tree planting in it as well. So we're going to be able to get soil volumes in there for a full planted strip along the base of that wall. I do suspect that Glenn is right. It will probably naturalize with some of the, like, you know, mosses and ferns and stuff, especially being a north-facing wall, will probably naturalize itself over time.
Sounds great. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you very much. That's all the comments I have, and good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Okay, next up, Harry.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the applicant for their presentation. Yeah, I think this project fits the site well. I really like that it includes some family-orientated 3-bedroom units. We really need that in Nanaimo. And I also appreciate the use of the fire smart materials in that area, and the plant selections included in that. My only comments, I reflect on Angie's comments with some better definition and weather protection for the upper units, and maybe adding some covered entry canopies. I'm okay with the height variance. That's all I got. No further comments. I look forward to seeing the finished project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Harry. And Dushan, please.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair. I think overall the project is well aligned with the steep slope and wildfire guidelines, and also the clustered approach works well with the terrain. There are just a few areas where I would maybe comment on some improvement, or where the applicant could straighten the proposal. First one would be maybe the arrival experience on a few areas where we've seen where we can turn into the actual neighborhood, where the site entrance in building 1 could be more defined rather than just turning into another street, since it's multifamily and it's part of the new neighborhood, where, let's say, public facing edge of the project and enhancing the landscape face of that one would be a bit more welcoming, I would assume. And also maybe to enhance it with some lighting or entry elements to help create a stronger first impression. The second I got would be following and backing up Angie's comment on the individual contrast of the units and the color palettes. I would maybe include a bit more color into that, and more having a stronger contrast between the buildings, since they're kind of twinned buildings, and just having and playing more with the color palette, so it is more distinct on what unit is actually we're approaching to. As I was looking, as I was imagining passing through the lane and going into my own house, it is very distinct but yet very similar contract to one each of them. So maybe just to think about that. Also the one on the houses is maybe having a more prominent entries. Entries are very small, where we do have this big contrasting wayfinding face of the building. So maybe just putting a bit of the accent on the entrance themselves, so maybe they can pop up more. That's mostly the advice. It's not a must, but it's something that it would be nice to see and kind of see the difference on where we enter compared to the whole face of the building. The other ones, I think that's mostly it. One thing that I can maybe just put attention to is the retaining walls and how we have a water runoff. I know the stormwater is managed well as per guidelines, but I will just caution regarding the natural bioswales and getting the water runoff. That would be good point to have an accent on that, so it doesn't get close to the buildings once we have big rains here and in this kind of territory. And once the raining season starts, we never know where it might lead to, even though we always try to mitigate that. So that's just maybe what I would put the accent when it comes to the civil design as well. And I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dushan. Just regarding the bolder colors, is there a specific recommendation that you'd like to make, like a one sentence kind of concise consideration that you can summarize? That would help
I would
students.
say not as much as the colors, but maybe more in a landscape, and to have a bit more contrasting experience with boulders, where mixing landscape and boulders would be a good mixture. Maybe that's also included, although I would just pay attention to it, maybe include more of it.
Okay, thank you. And the other comment regarding the retaining wall water flows, I didn't quite hear, were you saying to provide an accent, like something that allows like the water to funnel to prevent it moving wherever it wants near the homes? I didn't quite hear.
I
if
would
you said
just to
accent or something.
prevent moving towards the homes, and prevent the since the area is since the whole BC area is in very high raining territory, and floods are very normal. So, and it is in a big cutoff of two edges in between north and south, and having it coming from the upper side of the site, it can lead to the building 1 or even building 2 sustain a bit of flooding if it's not mitigated well, for example.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is something along the lines of consider define channeling for stormwater runoff.
Yes.
Would that be reasonable?
Yep.
Okay,
That's
great.
perfect.
Thank you, Deshawn. That's very helpful, yeah. Okay, Jessica? Oh, I don't see. Hi.
Is that better?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah,
Hello,
thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you very much for the presentation. Not a lot to say that hasn't already been said. I really appreciate that this development is designed to concentrate the buildings to minimize site disturbance and retain undisturbed areas in the natural environment. It was really helpful to see the Google Maps and the 3D renderings of the building in this space. Thank you so much. We didn't have that I didn't see it in my my package of drawings, and it really gave it context, and it's pretty cool. It's really sort of undulating with the natural design, and it looks great, and I hope it's very functional. I also appreciate that there is an indication on the drawings and several mentions of the permeable paving used for the surface parking spots along the south side. I am wondering if it's possible to use more permeable paving, seeing as that this is a natural environment that's going to have a lot coverage of, well, it's going to have lot coverage where it currently does not, and permeable paving, I think, is good for all environments, and so possibly the existing or the driveways, the other parking spots, and maybe the pedestrian walkway. Any of those, if they could also be permeable paving, that would be beneficial to the site. So that's the first comment. My second comment has already been mentioned many times about the entrance to each of the buildings. I really like the building's design. I think it's very clean, it's very modern, and it suits the area and matches with the existing architectural styles in the area. I really like the color blocking and the continuity of materials throughout each of the buildings. The one aspect of the entry being somewhat lost, the front entrance doors, they get kind of lost in the facade and can make wayfinding to each unit difficult. And my suggestion would be a contrasting door color. So without having to change the siding or change the color scheme at all, you could just have a door color that is either not part of the palette at all and highly contrasting, maybe, as Angie had suggested, yellows or reds, which are popular in other building. But it can be a fun detail, and it can be really helpful to designate the entrance door. And then my last comment again is weather protection for the upper units. I can see in the drawings that the upper unit entry has a roof extension that seems to cover the actual entrance door. And I'm wondering if it's possible to continue that roof extension so that some of the staircase is covered as well, or some other strategy to help the staircase be somewhat shielded from weather, because it seems in the renderings there's a really well-designed and functional staircase, but you have to go up all those stairs and it seems quite exposed. So if there were a way to extend the roof line to cover the staircase as well, or add some other kind of protection for that entryway, that would be really helpful for the second level suites, houses. And regarding the variance, fully support the variance requests and appreciate that it's in anticipation of site variations and unforeseen grading issues. So I support the variance. Thank you very much. And that's it for me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, that's great. And Kate, please.
Great. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, it's great to see. Yeah, I second a lot of the comments. I think Sean's comment about the arrival experience, to add to that, I would recommend screening that PMT pad that's there. It looks like the other one is screened with planting, but that one is not. So I recommend adding planting there and really, yeah, improving that arrival experience in the community. Yeah, second Jessica's comment about the additional permeable paving, even at least I would see there's a fire truck turning around stall that could be a great opportunity to add more paving, permeable paving there. There is another, it looks like there's another turnaround stall at the end of the road. And I guess I'm wondering, is that a temporary turnaround until the next phase goes forward, or envisioned to be a permanent one?
Yeah, I think it would likely stay because the road is just going, unless it's actually, yeah, because I think it turns on to at the very end of the road. There's an opportunity to kind of come back. So this road will kind of loop around and connect back to the other part of the intersection at Cascara, Alta Vista. So yeah, I can't say for sure when we get into the next phase, but essentially you can imagine the driveway would sort of continue on from where it is and go up the hill.
Okay, in that instance, then I would recommend, so the challenge is it's the trail access point is pinched with you can see that it drops below the 2 meters, which is the minimum recommended trail width to accommodate for that turning radius stall in that location.
Yes.
So if it's not a temporary solution, then I would recommend looking at that area, because I think it's quite important. You can see from the plan the sidewalk ends and there's a gap and a turning around stall and then the trail. And so I think retaining that continuous connection is quite important. So I would recommend looking at that area to ensure the minimum 2 meter width is met. To the same vein, I would recommend, it looks like shifting the bike racks from the entrance over to that trail. Practically most people will bike to the trail and park their bikes. So, or at least adding other bike stalls where the gravel trail starts is another recommendation. And I think that's it. The only other one would be the trail itself. I'd recommend looking at the grading. Currently, the slope is steeper than what's recommended by the Nanaimo guidelines. So I think adding a few extra stairs could help keep that max slope under the recommended guidelines. So, and that's it. The rest is really great. I really appreciate the planting palette and the thought that went into that. It looks really good.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, and Councillor Eastmere, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation and really thorough comments by panel members so far. I do expect some concerns from the community about, this forested area being developed, but I understand the need for growth and for this particular housing type, and I do think that you have done a good job of making it fit with the environment and the native plantings, and of course taking into consideration all of the wildfire risk mitigation and the steep slope in the area. I do think that the terracing looks kind of extreme in some places, but it's necessary because of the gradient. I think the rest of my comments are really similar to other panel members around. Yeah, I had a note about the permeable paving, so I appreciate that being mentioned, and the color scheme. So yeah, I don't think I'll double up on anything, but yeah, just really appreciate the panel's work today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Councillor Eastmere.
Okay, thank you very much, panel members, for a very thorough review of this project. It's I agree with all the comments. I really liked Jessica's suggestion for the front doors. I think that's a wonderful solution to help with addressing of these units, because they're quadruplexes, right? So if somebody's coming to the house, they can say, okay, it's the blue door, right? Go to that one. It's very simple. I think it'll fit really well in with the context. I did walk a little bit on the trail at the end of Alta Vista, and it's a wonderful trail that connects to the little pond below. So it's wonderful to see that retained. I'm not sure if adding stairs to it will help. It'll have to be up to the city, I guess, because I'm thinking some people with strollers, it would be nice to have that accessible. So even if it's a little bit more sloped, or maybe there's stairs and there's like a little bit of a ramping for strollers, that would be nice. And then one suggestion I had is maybe for the CMU, for the garbage enclosure, if we could just parge it. It's kind of a simple way. You can still put CMU there, you just kind of cover it with a parging, and it looks like concrete, and it can be made to look and be long lasting as well. So that'll just make it a little bit more expensive looking, I guess. Okay. So with that, we have, I believe, 10 comments, and if the panel members can help me out here, I am gonna list them in order of everyone. So with Angie's comments, and it was backed up by so many, to consider bolder colors, similar to the Hawthorne Corner project, and they can be on the door as well. So, yeah, consider bolder colors, for example, on the front doors. That might be good. Number 2, consider weather protection for patio doors. Number 3, consider a more landscaped solution for the arrival experience, specifically at buildings 1 and 2, I would think, maybe 3, which would include things like lighting and boulders, and to just better define it. Okay. Number 4, consider retaining wall defined channeling to prevent water runoff from hitting the buildings in a larger downpour. And they can be accented. It could be part of the landscape, right? It could be really nice, actually. Number 5, consider using more permeable pavers, and I'll just list what I have, but panel members, you can feel free to chime in here. Driveways, the pedestrian walkway, the truck turnaround, anywhere where there's an opportunity to do so. Number 6, consider weather protection for the stair. Number 7, consider screening the PMT. Number 8, consider, recommend the 2-meter, maintaining the 2-meter trail width at the connection to the trail. Number 9, consider shifting the bikes over to where the trails are. And number 10, please purge the PMU. Sorry, the CMU. Okay, so yeah, that's 10. And then Kate, for the sloping of the trail, would we like to recommend like a combo of stair and ramp in some places, or how would you like to word that?
And I think there are already stairs being proposed for the trail, right? So I think it would just be a matter of adjusting the number to make sure the remaining trail is accessible. Is that,
Okay,
if I'm reading the plans rightly? Is that?
okay. So would we include that as part of the formal recommendations, or just something to consider?
I assume the city will look to make sure it meets their design guidelines. So I think it's fine.
Okay. So we'll just say consider. Yeah, I think that's okay. We'll add it as 11. I think it'll be. Yeah. So consider adding additional stairs to meet slope requirements for trails. Yeah. Okay. Do any of the panel members have any additional comments or questions or adjustments to these following recommendations? Okay, so we have 11. And so can I please have a motion to accept the project as presented with the variances and the 11 recommendations? Yeah, if I can get someone. Yeah, Harry's going to motion. Seconder, Dushan, all in favor? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. And if we could have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Harry, Jessica, Dushan, seconder, all in favor? Okay, and thanks again very much to Glenn and the